Guys, last week, the bears did take control of the markets. Now we've had the weekly close. There's lots to speak around, but I do want to speak around two trap scenarios. The one is a bull trap and the one is a bear trap. Because we are sitting at this wall where bears are in control, and if we don't get through this level, there is new downside possibilities, especially new lows for the crypto markets. We also have an opportunity of this being a complete trap, right? We are not seeing any volume on this bounce right now, but if we break through a certain level, we might actually see a mega squeeze to the upside. So in today's stream, I want to give you guys the next best trade setups, as well as the bad scenario. Where should we be setting limit orders for the best altcoins in the market? Dominance is breaking to the downside. Ethereum dominance is breaking to the upside. So what that means is there's either a mega load up coming from the altcoins, or there is a very big Bitcoin catch up to the downside incoming. So guys, hope you had a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Smash the like button. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like 𝗦𝗏𝗏. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Alrighty, fam, how are we doing? Dads, happy Dad Day. It's been cool. I woke up yesterday, spent great time with the kids, and it's good fuel. So yeah, happy Father's Day to everyone out there, sending so much love. Hope you guys are doing well. And again, guys, just a quick message, soldier on, keep pushing through this phase. You get through this phase, you get to reap the rewards. Not many are left. Congratulations for being a part of the group that's left. Now, all you have to do is survive and go, right? At this time, it's time to really focus on building structures and trade the market for what it is, right? It's one thing that I've learned over the last couple of weeks. If I see the short, take the short. If I see the long, take the long. And at the same time, prepare the long-term portfolio. Buy what you can, load up what you can, shrink the amount of junk into quality, and just prepare yourself for the next rally, right? We're probably sitting around 2 months at any point. You know, we're going to look for a bottom, right? And we're all going to look for accumulation. We're all going to look at a reset. And now truly, if you look at every market in the world that's overbought right now, right, this is an undersold market, specifically on high-quality altcoins, right? We're waiting to see if Bitcoin is oversold. Right, is Bitcoin going to have a catch up to the rest of the market? Right, that's what we're basically waiting for. But once you get Bitcoin and the entire market oversold, you're going to have a reset. And if you look at every market in the world, there's still no better opportunities right now. All we have to understand is that the space has changed a little, right? Where everything used to pump, things are going to slightly start to move. And I think cryptos need to get to the point of being taken seriously in traditional finance. In order to do so, we can't just have junk pumping anymore. Right. So again, the narratives of the AI and the real world assets and decentralized finance, you know, these are very likely going to be key pillars over the next couple of months to years. Right. They're going to really perform well. They make sense in the real world. Right. And they're hitting really big narratives when it comes to it. So that for me has been a big play to say, hey, as much as I love all these different alts, right, I still got 1 or 2 gaming. I still have a few plays there. Right. But I'm really just going to the narratives that make sense. Because those are very likely. And again, every time we see a bounce, we kind of see the certain coins that are showing strength. So it's been a time for us to think and hover in it quite a bit. But ultimately, you know, just keep the mindset of pushing through this and preparing yourself, you know, for the next cycle. So let's jump into where we are now, guys. So quickly, just to show you guys weekly, right? It was a kind of, it's a bearish weekly, but not crazy bearish, right? We're not sitting with a crazy wick, which does give me a bit of an insight to say, hey, we could actually see a bit of greenness starting off in this week, right? But then we are getting to this big point here, right? We get into this big area here, where it's basically the $65,000, $66,000 zone. And you can clearly see on the weekly here that above that, the next resistances are sitting into the 70,000s, right? And we can also see below this, right? We have this area of this 58, 57,000, as well as the lows of 60,000, right? The double bottom zones. And if you go back and you see that below that, we then have support sitting at the late 40,000 to 52,000, right? So there's a little bit of gap down to the bottom and there's a gap down to the top, right? It's very likely this week we're going to start making moves. Now, what did happen though was last week we were showing some strength into the 66,000 and it did get completely absorbed, right? Not only did it get absorbed in the crypto market, we did start to see weakness in futures, in S&P. Let's see what S&P is at. S&P not too bad. Hasn't gotten the new highs just yet. We saw the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗥 breakout, right? So this is obviously just bringing some concerns to say, hey, people are starting to move into the dollars now. We didn't have the greatest FOMC. We did have a gold drop. Okay, gold got completely absorbed down from 4.3 all the way down back to the 4.2, right? And now we're starting off a little bit red. We had silver pull back, and we obviously had oil drop dramatically as well, right? So, but oil's coming to big supports now. We'll see if we get some bounces over here. So overall, still Bitcoin and crypto took a bit bigger hit in the rest of the world, but we did have some warning signs to say, hey, you know, bears are maybe starting to take a little bit of momentum here. And from momentum, this will be the week where they're going to accelerate it, right? In probably majority of the markets, okay? So now it gets me to the point of looking at a couple of things. Let's quickly just stay on the weekly for a second. Just weekly stocks still not at the bottom. We're not far though, guys, but as you can see here, we're still hovering here, which does mean, again, you know, the rushing in type of thing, you know, can be quite damaging. Just know that there still could be easily another 3 weeks to 4 weeks down, then multiple weeks of up, right? Multiple weeks. And guys, when we do get to a point of real volume in the markets, we are going to see a very strong bounce, you know, and that's why for me, opportunity staying alive right now is probably the best risk to rewards we have seen, you know, for many years. I didn't think we'd get this cheap specifically on some altcoins, but we are, right? And it means that the gains of those 10x and 5x opportunities are coming back, right? Not even getting anywhere near the previous highs. Good quality alts going halfway to where they went previously is incredibly good rewards. So no major signs over there, still telling us a couple of weeks. Now let's jump into today's action. All right, the first thing is just to quickly show you guys a little bit of where liquidity is sitting. We have liquidity sitting at 63,000. We have liquidity sitting at 65,000. No major pools here, no major pools here. Now, again, the way I kind of look at this stuff is the moment that we start to remove liquidity, the real move happens, right? So if you see, we've been chopping around here, and over the last couple of week or two, we've seen pools up here, and to be honest, the market's been pretty good at going and getting those pools. But what you're seeing now is you're seeing us now really crunching up to these over here. And the more I kind of zoom out and see if anything kind of shifts, right? I'm not seeing massive shifts here, right? I'm not seeing, which means that we're getting to a point where a real move is going to happen. Because when the market is in accumulation and chopping around, it's basically chopping for liquidity, right? The market wants to make money and go to where it's going to make money. But the moment you clear, right, and you basically destroyed both teams, you destroyed shorters and bullish guys, right, longers, right, in the market, then the market wants to make a real move. Okay, so again, the fact that we are crunching all this liquidity and we're starting to get rid of it, I do see a real move come into play. And that's when we go from this ranging into this trending type of move. So this is where we're looking at here when it comes to my plays right now. So this one. Okay, so this is where we're at. Jump to the daily now. The bears are in control, right? We're definitely in control. And as you can see here, where we're sitting right now, we are sitting at these zones here at close to, you know, the 65,000 as being resistance, okay? And that's where the bears are holding. So anything below here, guys, I am preparing downside. And again, we're seeing momentum up, but it is just not a crazy amount of volume. And even though we're seeing a little bit of greenness over the last couple of days, we've got to know that there's no real volume that comes over weekends, right? A lot of traditional finance is closed at these times, so we need to be very careful of Monday pumps, right, or Monday bounces, okay? However, I do want to play both sides here. So again, no volume to the upside here, which means volume is coming in two ways. The first one is it's coming in the way that we are getting ready for. They push down. And again, my A plan is us going to 57,000, right? B plan is we actually do a double bottom at 60,000. And C plan, we will see as it goes. There's a lot of work to do. Once we know the clear move here, we're going to work on these lows, on where we're going to catch. Is obviously we sit over here for a couple of days, and then we get ready for the possible that 49,000, even down to the mid 40,000s. Right? But as it stands right now, bears are in control, and I can very much be looking at that as the first play. Now, we look at the next play, which is, this was the trap, right? And the market may want to do it, but we need to make sure it's correct, right? Which is basically us getting back above here. Now, there are a couple of important Fibonacci's to pay attention to here, because even though if we start pushing in there, we need to be sure, right? So big resistance is at 65,400, right? That's 618, right? Which means that if we start to see a push above here, there's actually a short squeeze up to 70,000. Right, the last resistance is over here, and the channel is moving up like this, right, which means we might see a play over here, which means that if we're looking at where we are now, right, there are some good setups coming over the next couple of days. The first one is actually taking the short here and popping a stop loss here, right, for the move down here. That's the first place, right? And what you can also do is you can obviously zoom in nicely. Okay, let's see if there is a nice little 1 hour trend here. There actually is. So here's the reaction zone. We're starting to hover here. There's the bottom trend. We break that trend, take a short, right? Stop loss above the high. The moment we make a new low, move your stop loss to entry, right? Nice short all the way down to the low 60,000s, okay? To go long, I need to see the pump first. I need to basically see us rally up here, come down, and that will be the long, right? With the stop loss over here. So either way, you can see it's either going to be good risk to reward longs that come into play, okay, or it is the shorts. And right now, if I had to be a person to look for some trades today, shorts are probably the play for now, okay, but you can see the shorts, really good risk to rewards. Okay, so the traps come either way here. If we clean here, it's going to trap the market completely. Many are going to turn bearish from here. Many are bearish from here after last week's FOMC and where the markets are sitting in general. That will trap many off of guard. And as well as us pushing up now, the big drop will also trap many, right? Because many kind of think we still have strength and they're quite optimistic when it comes to that. So when it comes to the rest of the markets, again, the USDT dominance, just to show you guys, is still sitting in this wedge. And this one's still indicating a possible plan A is a new high into a big drop, right? Guys, a big drop, which means a big bounce for the markets, right? And then if we look at where we are now, you can see that recently we've also lost this trend. So remember, this market, this asset going up is bearish for markets, right? It means we're sitting with support over here. So plan A, again, let's get this up here. I don't know why they added these new little information buttons here. Is we actually see a drop in the next couple of hours, right? Probably later on today, markets open, we actually see a continuation to the downside. If not, there is a trap that comes into something like that. Okay, when it gets to altcoins, because what's interesting is we've seen a little bit of a dominance drop, right? Dominance starting to drop. It actually had a good week last week of dropping. Let's go to the weekly, right? Good weekly reset here. Very likely this continues to drop. Now, again, the question is it on a pump on Bitcoin or is it on a dump, right? As it stands right now, we did lose those trends. Okay, so this is showing bear as well as Bitcoin showing bear. Very likely a Bitcoin catch-up. And why I'm saying that is look at ETH dominance, guys. Ethereum is actually breaking a long trend all the way from April, right? So you can see many days straight going down. We're starting to break a trend. Okay, so it means that good sign for altcoins, right? It's very likely dominance coming down, even though if Bitcoin wants to come down, right? Ethereum to Bitcoin is on a verge to a breakout. Okay, which gets me to the point that even if Bitcoin makes new lows, let's go to the altcoin market here. All right, here's the total three. This is still very much bear territory. On top of here is bullish, right? Anything here below this trend is still bearish. But it is telling me that even if we do see a 58,000 or 57,000 Bitcoin, we could actually see a higher low from altcoins. This trend is going to be vital. I'm waiting to see the next high, and I'm going to give you guys a very important trend on when to load up on altcoins and go long on the altcoin market, right? So things like ETH sitting at the trend, quite interesting. If we do have a bull trap or bear trap, which means we're going bullish, might be some longs on ETH here, right? I do think, however, it'll be ready in the next 12 to 24 hours. So again, make sure you guys are on sniper trading. Now, I dropped a video yesterday, which is very good for you to learn in the process of building your strategies over the next couple of years. Okay, or the next couple of weeks for the next rally. Five signs you're becoming profitable. Very good video. Go and check it out. But nonetheless, I am doing updates. I didn't do the weekend. I was actually a little bit sick on the weekend. My brace is taken off and my tongue is giving me a lot of problems right now. So I didn't do a stream here for the last 3-4 days, but we're full back in action there today and rocking it. Let's go through to a couple of alts. So again, here is Solana. Just load up. Just get my right Sol charts here. Where are you, Solana? Okay, nonetheless, I'll draw here. So again, where Sol is still fighting problems right now is this big resistance over here. Okay, and as it stands right now, I did speak around Sol being one of the bullish coins right now. Okay, if it gets through here, there is a squeeze to the 80s. Just know that there are many walls of bear control right now. So what I'm doing is I'm tracking. I got this trend here. If I see tomorrow we're bullish, we're going long. And we're going long on Solana very likely, right? Solana and ETH, those are two tokens that are showing strength. Until then, right, I still have my areas. I don't know if we're going to make new lows on Sol anymore with that dominance. We'll see. But there's two zones. There's $62 and there is the area of $57 to $58 if the big bear scenario comes into play. No shorting on Sol right now. If I do see weakness over the next day or two and we're here, then there'll be some short opportunities to the downside. When it comes to things like Injective, right? Injective for me, I need to be careful here. It's a great token and there was volume coming to the upside, big volume spikes. It's a token that I really do want. okay? But it is now back at the lows, and if Bitcoin does see more downside, we could actually see a late $3 injective. I'm buying as much as I can long-term if that comes into play. When I'm longing it though, trade-wise, is when we break that trend in a couple of days. So it's not telling me anywhere soon, it's telling me, hey, over the next probably 7 days, there's some big injective longs incoming. For now, what can I buy long-term? Right, Zcash lost the trend. There's still that 330 to the areas of 250, 260 for longs. That for me is long-term plays of where I'm looking to buy. Anytime I'm trading it, a little bit later on this trend. Still many days away from that coming into play. NEO protocol, there is trades coming on NEO. So this would be a token that you will get trade setups. Right? If we lose the lows here, there's shorts down to the 1.8, 1.6. Big areas where I'm buying long-term. We break the trends to the upside in the next 3 days, there's longs up to $3. Right? So keep this wedge in play. Very good wedge on NEO protocol. When it comes to ONDO, losing trend. For now, I'm thinking the areas of late 30s, even slightly down to the late 20 cents marks, 28, 29 cents. Good long-term entries. Again, real-world assets play. One of the bullish tokens I'm paying attention to. Render, I got some limits sitting at 1.5. So again, it's interesting to see what that dominance is going to do. Here's Fetch AI, right, sitting at entries around 16 to 17 cents. Don't ignore the big volume spikes that have been coming in, guys. In accumulation, if you're getting volume spikes, it means that people are accumulating and bigger wallets are accumulating this. Right, not much retail in the market left right now. So this is a play I'm paying attention to, and it could go all the way down here to the areas of where I want to accumulate, probably the early 16 cent to the 17 cent mark for high time frame. Again, I'm just going to give you guys my views. Once we are done this zone, you can see we are accumulating. I'm seeing rallies up to these zones. So I do think there's at least 3 to 5x entries on these pullbacks that we are seeing right now. Things like AVAX catching in the late $5, 𝗬𝗎 catching in the 60-cent mark. A lot of big opportunities. Guys, remember, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, sign up to 𝗏𝗏𝗏 accounts. We're opening up a new group in Sniper Club this week. We've got something very exciting coming. So sign up with 𝗏𝗏𝗏, great exchange, one of the best in the world right now. And you get into the free club, so you can sign up over there below. Guys, have a great day. Big action-packed week. Make sure you subscribe to Sniper Trading. Join there for the later show. Right, from tomorrow, there's trade setups. There's shorts or there's longs, right? And for me, I'm going hardcore into the trading. A bunch of Bitfinder trading I'm going to be doing this week. I want to pass a bunch of challenges. I want to do that with you guys, as well as taking a whole bunch of trade setups right now. Using leverage as a tool, a little bit of our capital, but really taking advantage of the volatility that we're seeing. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Lots of love. Bye-bye.